So good evening, everyone. Welcome again to the Dil Se series that we began during the last weekend of February. I just thought I'll remind everyone that, the reason why we started this was, the pandemic meant that a number of people who joined the Heartfulness community didn't really get a chance to meet Daaji or have the complete experience, that Heartfulness offers. And of course, the most important one being, the interaction with Daaji himself. And so we thought, and more importantly, actually, Daaji thought of this and he wanted to create a platform that he can use to interact with people around the world who've joined in the last couple of years, specifically during the lockdown. So I just thought I'll remind everyone about that. And, this is a very special weekends that we've been spending with Daaji since the last week of February. And I think every time I meet someone or have we've been hearing from everyone around the world that they, really treasure these times that they get to spend and really look forward and yearn for the weekend to come around. Very quickly, just talking about the last 2 days, the last two sessions were in Gujarati and, reached people in the hinterland of Gujarat. And we've been receiving some really, really positive feedback and around 2,500 people from different villages either started meditation over these two sessions or actually deepened their practice through these sessions that took place. So I just wanted to take a minute and really talk about the impact that these sessions have been creating. And as you can see the slides, you have young girls from schools and you have also various other people in villages where computers have been set up and people have been able to really come out and ask Daaji questions and interact and make sure that their heartfulness practice gets enriched. So I wanted to share this and also congratulate the team and the volunteers on the ground who put this show together. They worked tirelessly for the last 2 weeks, to get even simple infrastructure like connectivity and computers out there for people to get access and actually meet Daaji and ask their questions. So thank you again to all the volunteers who, did this incredible work. And I just wanted to say that, heartfulness and the impact of this selfless work by practitioners and trainers really has no bounds. And, we also have Brian, who has been forwarding this work in the US and around the world, through his community on Quora. And, for some of those who are not familiar, Quora is an international, platform that, is a question and answer platform. So Pranam Daaji, welcome again to this new session. And I was just taking the time to introduce, Brian. Brian himself has been practicing for about 45 years now, and he's going to be the co-host with me for today's session. He is based in Cleveland, and I just ran through the impact we've been able to create in Gujarat and India, and he's actually expanding that and taking Daaji's mission of touching every household in the world across the globe through his community that he's been able to create. Just some really impressive stats that I wanted to share. He's been running this community for about 5 years. He's answering more than 2,500 questions and exceeding about 10 million answer views. About 12 people every minute read Brian's answers, which is absolutely amazing, Brian. So congratulations on that incredible work and, all the amazing work that you've been doing across 60 countries. And even in some countries where we don't have any heartfulness practitioners, you've been able to actually go out and conduct meditation sessions through online. And so before I really hand it over to you, I wanted to ask you a pertinent question, which is, I'm curious to know, what are the kind of themes that you've noticed that people ask about in a lot of these question and answers? And have you really seen a difference, pre-COVID and during the lockdown? Did the themes really change? So I'd love to hear that. And then, please feel free to ask questions from your community, all the people who've joined us from various countries around the world. Over to you.
Pragya, thank you so much. And first of all, I'd like to say hello to Daaji. So good to see you.
Hello, Brian. Good to see you in this frame.
Yes.
You have reduced a lot and you look lot better. And I think you look 20 years younger now.
Right? Yes, thank you. I feel 20 years younger. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful for that. So I wanted to address your questions, Pragya. So, Quora reaches about 180 million people a week. And of course, the spirituality categories are, smaller group of people, but still very significant in the millions. And the themes that I see overall showing up on Quora over and over again, the number one theme is actually enlightenment. That is the main thing that people want to know about and talk about. And of course, there's a lot of differing opinions and information about enlightenment, but that is a very big topic. People are also very concerned about the state of the world, and so are very interested in finding ways to feel in a real way that connection in the heart. And though Quora is often known as people who are maybe more intellectual approach, in the spiritual categories, I'm not really seeing that. I'm seeing a lot of very heartfelt people that are providing wonderful insights and looking for real solutions. So it's been a joy for me to participate in that, and I've learned a lot over the past few years. So
thanks so much for sharing that, Brian. And before we just jump into your community, I also want to highlight that we still have a few people who've joined us from Gujarat. बहुत welcome आप सब लोगों को जो हमारे साथ गुजरात से भी जुड़े हुए हैं. आज का सेशन ऑफ कोर्स इंग्लिश में होगा, मगर जो मेडिटेशन सेशन होगा वो इमोशन that transmission has no language. So thank you for joining us. But over to you, Brian.
Thank you. So I'd like to first call on Ade Kunle. Ade Kunle, are you available?
Yes, Brian.
Go ahead.
Good morning, Daaji. Yes, I'll just like to thank Daaji first for this meditation session. It's been really helping me, and I've seen a lot of improvement in my life since I started doing this. Thank you. And my first question is, sometimes during my meditation, when I'm deep in the meditation and get into the space, I get afraid. So I just wanted to ask Daaji if this is normal, or is it part of sometimes I get afraid during the meditation? So then second question is, sometimes when I'm doing my meditation and I'm resting on the area of my heart, I feel like the right side is trying to connect with the area of the heart. So sometimes that's another question I would like to ask Daaji. Thank you.
Hi. Thank you. Thank you for at least exploring this way of meditation. I have come across few individuals. Out of 100, I have noticed 3 to 4 individuals who would be afraid of going deeper while they are meditating. When you just begin meditation and a stage comes where you are almost dissolving away, and somehow the system interprets as if you're going to die, but that's not going to be the death. In fact, you are transcending your own consciousness. And that's when we get a feeling that I am dissolving completely. It's like a flame which is lighted up. And, when it's moving so fast and suddenly you're afraid that because of the wind, the flame might get put off. But that's not going to happen. This fear is there in many people. I also had once a fear when I was actually replicating the process of death, which is there described in one of the yogis' books, and especially our Grandmaster Lalaji Maharaj has written what actually happens at the moment of death. And I was replicating that how from Muladhar to Swadhisthana to Manipur, to this heart chakra and then Kanha chakra, things gets dissolved little by dissolved. And then the soul escapes from the chakra that is here. They call Brahmarandra. And if you like to know about this chakra, many Jewish people, they wear that, cap, that black cap, or many Hindu priests, they wear a ponytail. That's the area. But if you draw this, when you have this earlobes, the bottom part, you join a line here, and then from there you take 4 fingers above. Exactly there, that's a point where from the soul leaves the body at the moment of death, especially in people who are liberated during their lifetime. So I was withdrawing from basal plexus and allowing it to move to the heart and go. So it started actually moving, and I was almost on the last verge of escaping and leaving the body. That's when this fear crept in. Okay, what if I leave now? Body will be dropped dead, and what will happen to the family, and what will happen to me next? So I suddenly realized this and stopped this exercise. But during meditation, when we are withdrawing our attention, the consciousness into the heart, and it becomes single-pointed, our habit is to remain aware 360 degrees outside. But during meditation, when the consciousness collapses within the heart, some people do find it frightening. So I wish you, whenever you have this, immediately you can write to Brian and ask for a meditation session with him, and he'll make sure that that fear is no longer there. That's one part of it. Now, you mentioned about heart is on the left side and something happens on the right side. Now, this proves that system is very active and very dynamic. You are able to feel your next station in the spiritual journey. It's like, when you are moving from one place to another and you're about to reach the new place, and few minutes before you already have some sense of it that I am entering this new city. Or when you are going towards the sea, and 5 miles before you reach the sea, the breeze starts coming and you feel the cool air before you actually reach the sea. So this sort of feeling starts emerging, like when you are meditating here, but sometimes the atmosphere of the next chakra or the next plexus, next station comes to our view, into our experience, and it starts calling somehow, and it shows itself. And then when you are here, and automatically the next phase opens up within us. So it's a great thing, and I must congratulate you that you're able to sense the next stage already. But since we do not have the language or the physical signature of the next station, we remain questioning, and it's okay. It's quite all right, but I would request you to read a book by Babuji, Towards Infinity. You can visit our website and you can download that book also for free. Thank you, bro. Thank you. Namaste.
So I would now request Nadizhda from Bulgaria.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Actually, I would like to thank you for this opportunity to ask my questions directly to Daaji. Actually, I have 2 questions. The first one relates to the current situation. I would like to ask, is it possible and how to stay calm and positive in such a difficult situation as this Russian-Ukrainian war and its global impact? And the second question is, how do chakras and nadis relate to spirituality? I mean, is it important for my spiritual journey to develop chakras and nadis and to work with this energy body?
Well, when we talk of wars of this magnitude, we fail to understand how we can change one individual so that the rest of the countries with whom they are fighting, they do not suffer. It's impossible. As one single human being, many a times we fail to understand all these things, and it's extremely, extremely difficult to even say, I can change this. No, I cannot. Even in a small family, we have seen that I cannot influence my dearest, whom I love so much. My children, for example, can I influence them? Can I influence my brother? Can I influence my sister? Can I influence my mother or father to think like myself? You cannot. We have to wait and wait and wait with a patient heart. And only mothers can learn that very well, that how to wait patiently for the children to change and transform. Right? How lovingly wait for such a transformation in our loved ones. But if you force upon them that you better change, they're never going to change. And here you're talking of Mr. Putin, whom we don't even know. We don't even have a talking relationship. But yes, we can always pray to God, may there be peace in the world. That, at least that much you can do. And spread peace from our side wherever possible. Your next question about Nadis and Chakras. What is their role in spirituality? They have a tremendous role to play. And this job is better left to the master under whom we are getting trained. Okay. With his guidance, we are able to move from wherever we are. You see, everyone begins a journey from their level. But the role of the master is to take each individual to the highest possible level. Now, I give you one example. When we talk of these 5 chakras which are there, one is here, almost 4 fingers below the left nipple. And when you make its mirror image, it's on the right side also. You flip the mirror image up, there are 2 more here. And when you draw a line like this, equilateral triangle touching this throat chakra. So let's talk about this 5 chakra first. Now, when we are meditating on the heart, that is heart chakra. And as we master this meditation and our journey within the chakra or the plexus, as it moves on, certain level of consciousness arises in our heart. For example, when we talk about God and say, oh, I feel God, but when you are at this chakra and the consciousness develops so well, that you start feeling the presence of God within yourself so well, and you feel very confident about that presence. Okay. Now, when with the help of the master, we are able to move from here to the next chakra. Here, instead of feeling the presence of God within you, not only within you, but you'll feel His presence everywhere. You will feel the presence in sky, in stars, in everything that is surrounding us. Even if you want to deny it, you cannot deny it because it's such an overwhelming experience. And as a result, what happens? The next chakra opens up. And that is all about love. When you see that God is everywhere, The love for everyone simply begins to emanate from your heart. And a level of courage develops. Now, when you start loving automatically people without any bias, some level of confidence, some level of courage, some level of fearlessness develops. That is the quality of the next chakra. And because of this fearlessness and confidence, your ideas remain very clear, your mind and heart remains very clear. And that is the quality of the fifth chakra. Now, unless and until this movement was made, you cannot have these experiences. So, our job as the practitioners of meditation is to stick to our practice, morning meditation. In the evening, we try to clean ourselves. And what gets cleaned? The Nadis gets cleaned, Chakras gets cleaned, our entire spinal cords get cleaned, and the entire whole system actually gets cleaned. Each cell becomes purer and simpler. You feel less complexities within you. You feel less impurities in you. And you feel, okay, now I'm really becoming vehicle of God, for God to reside in my heart. So it's a beautiful state that we develop as a result of purification of the whole system, not just the Nadis and not just the chakras, but the whole system becomes pure, and you start vibrating at a different level. And whosoever meets you, whosoever you talk with, wherever you walk, talk, run around, breathe, all that will have your impact. The presence will speak louder. You don't even have to say believe in God, but your presence will be felt by others. That yes, that this person is spiritual, this person is peaceful, this person is so loving, this person is so compassionate. And there is no artificiality left anymore afterward in us. It just happens. Simple practice of meditation does it.
Thank you, Daaji.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'd next like to request Maxim to please go ahead and ask your question.
Sure. Hi, thanks a lot for the opportunity. I wanted to ask, but I think Nadis already touched on that, definitely, and thank you for answering. I live in Canada now, but I am originally from Belarus, and of course, this country unfortunately is involved in the conflict right now. So my question was, in these difficult times with the war going on in Ukraine, so many other conflicts and challenges in the world, what can I personally do to improve lives of my family members and as many other people as possible? How can I make an impact? Thank you so much.
For family members and loved ones, there is no limit to what we can do. If you can afford, bring them to Canada, why not? And if you cannot do all that, at least pray for them, and at least they'll find some peace and confidence.
Thank you, Daaji. I would like to request Meg, if you would ask your question.
Hello. I'm so blessed to have found Heartfulness, and I feel a deep connection that I haven't experienced before with Heartfulness, and specifically Babaji, perhaps because I've had a little more experience like reading and watching. My intention, though, is that I have that connection with you as well. And my question is, are you able to be the master to all of us who ask? Thank you.
I'm sorry, I failed to answer this. That if I am fit to be a master, is it what you're asking?
She was Daaji. She's
Yes, Brian.
So she's, I think her question is regarding that she does feel a deep connection with Heartfulness, but more so with Babaji, but she's asking that she would really like to feel that connection more so with you. And then she asked, can you be that connection for so many people?
Well, I'm so happy that you are sharing this, because I'm also deeply moved whenever we talk of Babuji. My heart simply melts. And when persons like you come up and say, I'm deeply connected with Babuji, it makes me really, really, really joyful, actually. Whether they are connected with me or not, it really doesn't matter. For me, it does matter, because my job is also the same as a master, is to connect every heart with that of Babuji Maharaj. So it makes the entire task easier for me. And it really doesn't matter. He is the right person you can love, and you will not regret, I tell you. You will definitely not regret. He's always there. Even in the most challenging situation, you think of him, you will get your answer, and not just the answer, but solution to your problem. And then time will come where a real bonding happens between a disciple and the master. See, because though we begin this practice to feel something, right? We begin like that. We are searching for something in the beginning. And when we do find something fulfilling our hearts, then the next stage opens up. What next? Now I feel confident about the system. Now I feel confident about the master. What next? You see, and next chapter opens up on its own. And that's what I'm longing for. See, that how can I also become like Babuji Maharaj and also spread the same spiritual fragrance and allow others to feel the same spiritual fragrance. So I like you to become that vehicle, that flower radiating that spiritual fragrance. And that has always been my prayer, that every seeker should become spiritual flowers and radiate, just like a rose radiates its rose fragrance without any choice. We too can do that, see. And we don't have to make any efforts. Simple thing to do for us is to meditate. And during this meditation, we become something each time. There is something in us drops off and something emerges. And that's how we become better and better with consciousness. And that we try to preserve after each meditation. And that is the beauty of this system. It's so simple and not demanding much from us. Thank you. Thank you for your question. And let's all become the spiritual flower the way Babuji is.
Thank you. Thank you, Daaji.
Thank you.
Do we have time for another question?
Yes, we do, Brian. Please go ahead.
Okay. Well, sitting next to Meg is actually Jeremy, and he has a question he would like to ask.
Hi, Daaji.
Hey.
Thank you so much for meeting with us and taking our questions. I have a question regarding constant remembrance, and I'm curious how to approach it from just an everyday, ordinary state of consciousness. And I'm just requesting to get more clarity on this important practice. My understanding is that we think of the divine, and I'm coming from an Advaita tradition where thinking is kind of, it's not so much a part of the practice. So I'm wondering how to remain with one thought and how to distinguish what is divine, what is not divine, and how to remain in that. Thank you.
Thank you. Long time back, perhaps in 1978 or 1979, I had asked this question to my master. Our question answers were very brief. I asked him how to progress faster. So he told me with one statement, constant remembrance. And I asked him, how to? Then he said, connect yourself each time you change your activity. Okay. I spent a lot of time over this fundamental concept in heartfulness, that what is the byproduct of meditation? We practice meditation, and something comes out of this practice. What is that byproduct? Of course, we talk of consciousness, that okay, the consciousness that I had before meditation and consciousness that arrives in my heart at the end of meditation. And each day it keeps changing. Now, if I'm able to remain in touch with this new level of consciousness after each meditation, then I'm not, it's like, you're going one ladder up, coming back, one ladder up, coming back. So consciousness is so subtle and so refined. We need to pay extra attention so that we don't lose it. Because after each meditation, whatever the state is, and however careful we are, after 3-4 hours, we seem to lose that state. So constantly reminding ourselves, of course, 2-3 weeks, it's a challenge for us. How to play around in the daily world, at the same time remaining in touch with your inner consciousness. It remains challenging for a few weeks. But if I give you the example of a child learning a bicycle, a 3-year-old child or 4-year-old child, when we teach cycling, we get first 2-wheelers with 2 supporting wheels in the back. And then we help child how to ride a bicycle. Then a time comes, child will say, Mommy or Papa, leave me alone, I will do it myself. So we let them do it. And then a time comes when we remove this practicing wheels also. And then time comes, child starts to going to school on a bicycle with friends. And also time comes when you are going on a bicycle, children often leave the handles and keep on riding, singing songs and all that. Now, in the beginning, it was so difficult. The main job was paddling in the beginning. But then a time comes, he's paddling, at the same time he's singing, but he's unaware of the paddling. Same thing happens when you're learning the car for the first time. And time comes, after so many efforts, that very act of driving a car becomes effortless. So in both scenarios, tremendous efforts are involved until it becomes effortless. Constant remembrance also, like we try hard in the beginning that, okay, I have finished my meditation. This is my state of consciousness. And in order to make it very palpable and make it very understandable, I make a note of it in my journal that this is how I feel at this moment. Okay. And then having written all that, I've tried to hold on to that state and then either take breakfast or do whatever I have to do next. If I have to go to work, I drive, and just before driving out, I would connect myself to that inner state and say, okay, I'll hold on to this state as much as I can. I reach to my workplace, sitting on the table. Again, I make a suggestion. And if possible, I try to meditate at least for 2 minutes also before I begin my work. Just 1 or 2 minutes to intensify that inner state, to make myself more centered, and then work again. You see, even if I have to converse, telephone comes in the middle of this meditation, it's fine. I answer the phone and put it back. And each time I get distracted, again I remind myself. So it's a constant process of reminding that I am connected within myself. Now, why constant remembrance, you see? Like when you love someone, that person is always on your mind. Even for a second, you cannot forget your loved one. So Babaji says, this divine, godly entity, we don't even know. How to love that godly or divine entity whom we don't know as yet. Though theoretically we say, I am divine and that is also divine, Advaita. But I had to consciously feel the divinity that is all-pervading and divinity that is individual, or the individual consciousness must resonate with the universal consciousness. So that state must come. It must not just remain a theoretical. So the efforts are involved. And we try to attract that quality within by intensifying it more and more, more and more. And as we move from one chakra to another chakra, we keep experiencing various states of consciousness. And ultimately, we arrive at a state where there is absolutely nothing, absolutely nothing. That does not mean that there are no qualities there. Something or the other is always there, but it cannot describe. It's so beyond words, you see. Vedas, as you say, and since you are Advaita philosopher, they all talk about, positive things in the beginning. But in the end, what do they say? Neti, neti, neti. Not this, not this, not this. Because having experienced the ultimate so well, when someone asks you, how is that ultimate? Then we have to only say, not this, not this, not this. Because there is nothing in this world that is comparable with the ultimate. That's why such a proclamation, not this, not this, not this, neti, neti, neti. But as far as experience is concerned, you will surely experience that. Babaji, in his wisdom, says, since we do not have the inkling or even little bit of conception of God, so we begin by theoretically or hypothetically imagining and loving that entity. And once we begin this process of thinking, rather, it automatically results into loving at some point later in life. So meditation is the beginning, constant remembrance is somewhere in between. Love is the next phase. And love is also not the ultimate thing. There is still something more remaining, like when I love someone and she also loves me very dearly. What happens next is the marriage. Then you have new creation. Creation, because when two come together, there is third being created. There is a merger to meet, to become one. Similarly, when my consciousness, individual, once it becomes universal, that is also merger. And this merger is not possible as long as I have something or the other. That means the purity that I have must resonate with the divine purity. Otherwise, it cannot merge. Drop cannot become the ocean if the quality of this drop is not like that of the ocean. Can I drop oil in water and expect it to merge? It can't. So divine, in order for me to merge in divine, I must become divine. As of now, most of us are not divine, though we have those divine potential. It has to be actualized and realized. Then yes, then merger is possible. Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you.
Thank you, Daaji. I think we have time for one last question.
Please go ahead.
Okay. I'd like to call on Noreen. Noreen, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay.
Hello?
Hi, Noreen. Yes. Can you get your camera on? Is it okay?
Um,
Go to the bottom left corner and hit with the red line.
okay, here I am.
Okay. Wonderful.
Yes.
Wonderful. So
yes,
let me, Noreen, if I could just introduce you. This is Noreen and Daniel. Daniel won't be on camera today. Not sure, but he'll maybe wave. But Noreen is going to ask something on Daniel's behalf. And they're just a lovely couple that have been in our group for a long time. Oh, here comes Daniel.
I was a bit sick, so I was off camera, but I'm feeling better now.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Hello, Daaji. I'm very pleased to meet you. My name is Daniel, and I live in Omaha, Nebraska, in the United States. My question has to do with physical sickness. I accept that cleaning can easily remove samskaras in seed form before they are active and prevent them from causing trouble later. But does heartfulness offer any hope or comfort to a practitioner in the more difficult case that the samskara has already sprouted and has established disease in the body? Thank you.
Daniel and Noreen, I think we all have these practical problems. When the seed is just about to settle, first impact is on our emotions. And when it is not solved or resolved, it tries to settle on a deeper level, on a physical level, and it manifests in the form of ailments or diseases. So yes, but once it comes at a physical level, it remains quite challenging for us to remedy from that situation. But I have seen many cases in heartfulness way of practice. But if I announce it like that, then all sick patients will come here and start practicing, and which is not my intention. And there are some unsolvable cases, and there are many solvable cases. And that also is samskar dependent. To answer in single sentence, I would say yes. Anything can be removed with the help of transmission. You have guts to believe it, it will happen. Even if you don't believe it, it will take some time until you believe it, and then it starts working. So belief, we begin with the belief. And then since something has happened because I believe in it, then the faith develops and the love develops and the relationship develops, and then you become healthier and healthier. And now what magical thing happens is you become more focused with your own soul afterwards. That is yourself, that's your real self. Because we were some conscious entity before we took this birth. And after we die also, we believe that my entity, this soul, will continue to exist. right? That soul is within me. My physical body is only now, maybe for another 20 years, maybe another 30 years, maybe another 40 years. It's okay. At one point, it is going to drop. But the soul which is there is always within me. And because of this presence, I remain so much connected with it that even when I'm mentally affected at times, worrying about it sometimes, or when I have disease, for example, or headache, it's okay, but you're so much drawn into yourself, in your soul, that these things, though they are there, though we look after it very well, though we go to doctor and take all kinds of healing methods, yet your attention will be on your soul. And that's what in Sanskrit they call it settling within yourself. You're so settled within yourself that despite of all these things, you remain calm. You have such a problem that you cannot be cured. It's all right, but you have such a high level of confidence within yourself. But nothing matters in this world. That courage, that confidence comes in you because of that self within. See? And I often talk to youngsters that, though some people believe in God, some people don't believe in God. Some people believe in soul, some people don't believe in soul. It's all right. It's okay. But let me tell you one thing. There is some life force that is with us. And that life force is with us ever since our birth. My life force, or Daniel, when you speak, your life force is not in Noreen. Noreen's life force is not in you. Your both's life force is not in the church. My life force is not in the temple or in some holy place or in heaven. My life force, your life force, everyone's life force is within themselves. But we don't honor that life force. We don't respect that as much. We ignore it carelessly. And we pay a lot of importance to outer things. We need to stop that. We need to honor that greatest agency, greatest force that is there that keeps us going. Be grateful to that entity that is within us. Cherish it, love it. And when masters of caliber transmit to us, they nourish that soul. Through this transmission, Brian must have talked to you many times. And that's an experiential thing. It's not a belief system. So whether we believe in God or not, okay, but this soul, this life force, doesn't matter what we call it, it's within us. And as long as we respect that, it's good enough. And the purpose of such meditations in the East is only to realize the importance of the soul so that we can remain more grateful to it. And much greater thing can happen once we go on this journey. And now, many a times I look at a question that how do you decide that this journey is good or bad? Whether it is good for me or bad for me, or is it correct for me or it's not so correct for me? The answer comes to my heart is only this, that the soul that is within my body, it has everything to keep us going. And when we cooperate with the soul's plan, soul has a particular plan, and that plan is of evolution. If we cooperate with the soul's plan of evolution, it will shower us with grace. The grace will come from within only. There is no God outside you giving you grace. And moment we do anything wrong, that will turn against the evolution intended by my life force. It will give us jerks. It will give us, as they say, in a plane journey, lot of bumps in the flight, turbulence. You become restless. Whenever we adopt a wrong path, wrong ways, wrong methods, then the soul tells us through this feeling that I'm restless. Let's do something better. And if you have found peace, that means the path is okay. It's just right for you. So sorry, I have gone here and there with the question, but I thought they're all connected. So thank you, Daniel and Noreen.
Thank you.
And
Thank
hope
you.
to see you in Omaha one
You
day.
will.
Yes.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Should
Namaste. Namaste.
Should we meditate now, Daaji?
Okay, Brian, is that fine?
Yes, Daaji, I think that's fine. And on behalf of everyone from the Quora group, thank you again for spending this time with us. Really
Well,
appreciate it.
I really appreciate you bringing in Quora group. And I heard about all this, but today I'm meeting them first time. A
Yes.
few of them, and hopefully all of them will come one day to India and we'll celebrate together.
We'll look forward to that.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. So now we'll meditate as usual. Okay. Thank you. So let's all meditate. That's all. So thank you, Brian and Pragya.
Yes, Daaji. I
All
must, sorry, please go ahead.
from Gujarat as well as all across the globe, especially Korans. Thank you. Thank you. And looking forward to you all maybe in person here at Kanha. Thank you.
Thank you, Daaji. I just wanted to wrap the session up with just one other announcement that we have a special session curated for next weekend with teachers. And also, I must confess that I didn't want today's session to end, Daaji. There was just so much love and constant flow of transmission. So, and all was contributed because of the wonderful questions that the community asked and with your support, Brian. So I hope we can do another session, of course, depending on Daaji's, convenience. And Daaji, there's immense gratitude to you. A lot of people have been messaging the team to say that they really look forward to these weekend sessions. And we know there is so many things that you're juggling, but this weekend has almost become like a year marked on everyone's calendar. So thank you again for all the time that you're taking out.
Well, let's keep doing until we can.
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you. Everyone have a wonderful weekend. Wonderful week ahead. Stay safe and keep meditating, and we'll see you next weekend. Thank you.